Hey guys, before we get to the Neon Hope preview, just want to give a shout out to Feltector for providing this playmat. Also, like, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you get a notification anytime we put up a video.
Make sure you check us out on Whiskey Wednesday. We do a live show every Wednesday from our house. We cover games from the ground up. We have designers, producers, all types of people on there. Sometimes we have people from the chat join the show, so that could be you.
Could
Make
be
sure
you.
You're watching.
We'll see you there. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we're doing a preview for a game called Neon Hope. This is coming crowdfunding soon. So if you're watching this, that is what is happening. They sent us this is an unpaid preview. They sent us this sort of prototype. And it just basically has like the opening scenario to give you a taste or an idea of like what's going on. So this is sort of like a cyberpunky future thing. In the demo we had two different characters, and they have asymmetric decks, which are going to give them different abilities and different ways to do things. So it's going to basically the first setting, a scenario, is going to tell you kind of how to build this deck, set up an encounter, and then that encounter is going to tell you some cards that go at the top or the bottom. So kind of like different locations within the setting.
Yep.
And on your turn, you're going to get 3 actions, and you can play cards from your hand to sort of supplement those actions as you interact with these different areas. So they're going to have like attributes on there, right? So this guy's got an investigative 3, and it's got 2 secret tokens. So I would be going off of that little heart icon. That icon for me is a 2. So I can play a card to try to bolster that, right? Because I need a 3 or higher to succeed at that. And then in addition to doing that, I'm going to draw from what they call the grid over here. So there are these tokens set up, and they are modifiers that are plus or minuses and sometimes skulls. So if you hit the green check mark, it is an automatic success. That's that guy right there. It's not only an automatic success, it counts as an additional.
Epic
success. So one success would just remove one of these tokens, but that additional success would clear this off. I'd flip this card over, and then because I took this last card off of here, I'm going to get one of these guys here, which is like a currency, which is going to allow me to buy upgrades for my character. The most important thing to remember is each character, at least in this, we started with 8 endurance, and we were able to have 8 cards in our hand. So when we, as we play cards, they're going to get discarded, but you have access basically to your whole hand at the beginning of the game. So as those cards get discarded, you're playing them, you're doing different things. This currency will allow me to buy things for my, in this version, I'm playing my bionic prosthesis, which gives me bonuses to things, right? And then, basically can give you like ongoing effects, things like that. So it's really great when you clear those off. Some of these cards are going to have characters, and as you interact with them, if you successfully interact with them, you're going to be able to get these bonus tokens, and they can give you a +2 to the attribute shown on there. So if you decide to use it, when you go, awesome, bam, you get to do, you get that bonus, which is going to help. Some things will have a threat level in addition to the success number. So this investigate here, I just need a 2 on that green icon to successfully investigate there. But if I'm under a 5, we're going to take stress unless we take the hack action to hack that location first.
Right.
If you do that, you're going to put a cube on there, cover it up. Now that is inactive. These guys here, because that's a filled in spot, that's just a threat that if we do not succeed with that threshold, we're going to, well, actually, if we don't succeed, we're just going to have to deal with that stress icon.
Yep.
Taking stress is resolved by either discarding a card or losing a hope.
Losing hope.
So things like that. Every time that you don't have a card in your hand, you are going to focus. Your endurance is going to go down by 1. And then you're going to draw up to the number of cards equal to your endurance. Yeah. So, and if you run out of endurance, you lose the game.
I feel like an easier way to explain that would be like you would just pick all your cards back out of your discard pile and then discard down to whatever your endurance level is.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I mean, you just pick your card. The nice thing is you get to pick your cards.
Yeah.
So you are choosing what card you're leaving behind.
Right.
Also, when you focus, that's when you're going to get to spend these tokens here to
Buy
buy upgrades for your stuff. There's a cost up in the corner. Again, so as you resolve locations, you pull that last token off of there. You're going to flip that card over. You're going to do what it says. There might be chapter cards where it says if you clear out this area or find this,
Things will happen.
Things will happen.
Story unfolds.
Yes, and then you're going to go to another chapter card, right? Or it might reveal. Usually, it's going to reveal like another setting
Or a person
or
that
a
can
person,
help.
or a goal.
Yeah.
That you're trying to achieve. Now there are bad guys here. If on your turn you get a skull, that is an automatic failure. And not only is it an automatic failure, but it is going to mean that enemies at your location are also going to attack you. So you're going to take basically what is shown there. To defeat those enemies, you need to deal that much damage to them. Their health is up here in the corner. And also, though, when you fight them, they've got that number there. If you deal at least that number, which is at a 1, so he's
So
easy
it takes
to fight.
a one to succeed, but if you do 4 or higher on like your success, they retreat, and so the card will flip over, and you won't have to deal with him until your next
Yeah, and when
encounter phase.
Yeah, in the encounter phase, the enemies will flip back over. So then, during the encounter phase, you're going to resolve a few things. So after I've taken my 3 actions, Bob's taken his 3 actions, and we could choose who goes first. Then the encounter phase is pretty straightforward. It's on here. So basically, if there's anything that the responsible player is supposed to do, which would be the first player, technically, they were going to resolve any abilities that say things that happen at the beginning of an encounter phase, right? So there might be a setting out here that is going to do that. You're going to put a hacking cube on each state in the network. So a hacking cube goes on there. If it's full, it goes away. Otherwise, you're going to resolve what that does. Then you're going to increase surveillance by 1 per player, and then it's going to go an additional point for each enemy location with 1 or more players, or enemy at a location with 1 or more players. So if we were here and he's face up, we would take 1, 2, and then an additional third because he's here face up. If he's retreated, that doesn't happen. So we would just take the 2 surveillance. So that surveillance is going to go up at least the number of players you have every time.
Yeah. You are being watched.
You are being watched. Then the retreated card's going to flip face up. And then you're going to refresh all your action trackers. And then we're each going to draw and resolve an encounter card. Now, this is the only time where we do not get to communicate what we're doing. And the encounter cards can do different things, right? Like I've got to choose one and both of them suck. And you've got to choose one, but
they both suck.
They both suck. Slightly less. Sometimes,
most of the time, they're not good.
Sometimes you might draw like an additional state card out here, which is going to add like a modifier to the next round.
Yep. You draw enemies out of there.
Yeah, enemies can show up. They will just basically show up at your location, and they might have special abilities. Like this guy, you can't leave until he's gone. So you got to either get him retreated or kill him.
Yep.
To do that. And then you're gonna keep going, right? You're gonna check this surveillance threshold, and when you hit these different numbers, you're going to flip the card and do different things. Just a couple of easy things to keep track of. It's not too bad. The grid can be a little fiddly, but this is a prototype, so we're not even sure like how all of that
final bit,
is gonna shake out. But this is a preview. We don't know what is final components, you know, and what is not. But this did give us an idea sort of how this game plays. Bob, any comments on the gameplay, things like that real quick?
Yeah, I did enjoy how each character has like super asymmetrical decks. Like my 8 cards are very different from Tim's 8 cards. They do some interesting things. Some of them might not give you a bonus to what you're doing, but they give you like an extra success as well. Like I had an ability called Reckless, so I was having to flip over 2 tokens, so it definitely increased the chances of grabbing one of those skulls, which would be unfortunate. But if I did get a skull, I'd get bonus, and I still succeeded, I would get extra successes and whatnot. So that was a lot of fun. And even your player abilities, like from the get-go, like I'm a 2-2-3-1, Tim's a 2-1-2-3.
Yep.
So they're very different, which is much appreciated. Do like the asymmetrical ability of that. Then your different upgrades are all very different. And then they do an interesting thing with like how you have different settings of what's going on, but then within each setting you do have 2 different locations, because as you flip the card over, it's saying to add things to one side up here, one side down here, and then you just pay attention to the wording on the card, because some things will say at your location, some things will say at your setting, and so that can apply to different areas. And then the nice breakdown on the player aids is always appreciated. No issues with any of the colors or icons, so hopefully that plays its way through. And this game does lend itself to a lot more stories, because you just need a couple of cards to add in for your scenarios, and you could keep doing a bunch of different scenarios.
Oh yeah, and I can definitely see where all of these different things sort of expand, right? Like because your cards all say level 1. So that implies to me they'll be level 2. Yes, yes.
And that's always fun.
That's the thing, right? And it's always a tricky thing when you're doing a preview for a game where there's just this very limited exposure. But at the same time, they did a good job in this of like kind of walking us through a bunch of the different mechanics we're going to encounter. Because we have played some prototypes where it's like, oh, this is a campaign style game, and we didn't put in all those mechanics in the opening one because we didn't want to overwhelm people. And it's like, well, no, I want to know like what all this stuff does, so I have an idea of what's going on. And I like asymmetric player powers. I really think that the your little tool deck here and how you can upgrade. I mean, I had one that cost 11, but it was awesome.
Nuts. Yeah.
But I could spend hope and resources when buying it. Okay. But it gives me a +1 to all of my attributes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that's why it's 11.
Yeah, that's fair. Mine were like 3, 4, 4, and 5.
But the 4 that I bought, it's like when I succeed, my next task, I get
easier.
a +1.
Yeah. So as long as you keep doing well, you keep doing well.
Yeah.
Get
So
that bonus.
those kind of things are really neat. I think I really like how it lends itself.
On a roll.
I like how it lends itself to the gameplay. Like you start off bare bones, and as you are even going through just that scenario, you're kind of leveling yourself up as you're playing.
Yeah.
It felt. Go on.
I would say, like, even like interacting with like this bartender, barkeep. She's one of the first characters that you run into. You put all these tokens on her card, but then as you talk to her and you get support and you succeed, you're taking these tokens off and you're adding them to your card, and this just helps you to add to your abilities and stuff like that. So it's like, by interacting with people and doing things, it's just helping you succeed in the future.
Well, it felt challenging without being overwhelming, because there's like a lot of stuff going on, and there's lots of ways to sort of mitigate some of those things. Yeah, there is that one epic fail in the grid, but there's a chance.
One time it even happened to us. It was
there was a chance that it's in the archive, because there's always going to be 3 tokens. Well, in this scenario, there was always 3 tokens that were in the archive.
But there were 16 available, and then 3 face down. So you would mix them all up, set 3 aside without looking at them, and then you've got those 4x4 grid.
Yeah, so that was interesting. That was really interesting. So there's some cool stuff going on here, some stuff I haven't seen done in other games, and I would definitely look forward to playing this campaign further and seeing more, seeing what else it can do. Because again, these were just 2 characters, right?
Right.
And I'm going to assume that there are a lot more characters planned or in the final version of this.
And I've
game.
always been a fan of like cyberpunk type stuff.
Yeah, and I like the art style and stuff too, with the choices that they have made. So, this will be really interesting to see where it goes. But glad we had the opportunity to check it out. It's unique. It's definitely unique.
Yep.
Anything else before we sign off?
That's all for me.
All right. Well, if any of this was interesting to you, check it out and let us know. Let us know what looked interesting about it, and how you, if this is a kind of game you would like to play. Other than that, for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Thanks for watching.